Hey guys, welcome back to the video. In this video, we're doing an ending explained for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So warning, this video will be having a lot of spoilers for the entire movie. If you want to check out my spoiler-free thoughts on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, that's the last video I uploaded, which is my initial reaction to the movie. And later, I'll also be uploading my full spoiler review / breakdown. And then I'll be watching it again in a few days. And then I'll be doing a second watch review type of thing. So if you guys want to check out all those videos, make sure that subscribe and notifications on so you don't miss any time I upload a video or I go live. Both are wasting more time. Let's get into it. So this video will be split up into a few different sections, kind of going over a little bit more specific stuff like Wanda's ending in the movie and her future in the MCU, as well as the same thing going for Doctor Strange and honestly the multiverse as a whole. Because this movie ended on a note that kind of makes me think that the future of the MCU is going in a multiversal direction, but we'll get into that in a second. So this is your final warning, major spoilers for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in 3, 2, 1. So let's start talking about Wanda's ending / her future in the MCU. So I do want to start off by saying that Wanda, aka Elizabeth Olsen, has actually signed a brand new deal with Marvel Studios, which means that she will be returning sometime soon. I just don't think it's going to be like in the near future. For example, in the comics, she did die just as she did in this movie, but then she later comes back to life later down the line in the timeline. So I think that's kind of gonna be the same thing that happens here. I think that she's going to be taking a break for a little bit, not as much in the MCU, and then maybe down the line she can be re-revealed kind of like Captain America in Infinity War. I think that would be really interesting for a character, especially on her ending in this movie. So let's get into it, breaking it down. So basically at the end of this movie, she commits suicide, kind of taking the Darkhold with her after she sees that opposite universe of herself being enjoying her life with her kids and kind of seeing how much fear she's really strucken into her kids. And this is the same exact multiversal body that she traveled to before in the movie when she fought the Illuminati and stuff like that. So she got to see these kids happy. She actually got to see them actually sing a song for her as well, kind of getting to feel like their mother for once. And then she goes through the portal again. America Chavez opens up a portal at the end of the movie. She goes through, sees her kids, and she basically looks like a borderline zombie at that point. And it really just freaks the hell out of her kids. It also freaks out the Wanda herself. She's about to fight her. And then she realizes that she's kind of been taken over by this darkness. And I do think that's one really interesting thing about Wanda and the MCU. I think she'll kind of be what Magneto was for the X-Men Fox franchise, where we kind of see her over time become good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, and you never really know what direction she's going to be going in. What's interesting about this is I think White Vision could come into play in resurrecting this Wanda, or kind of bringing her back. Not really. I honestly don't even think she's dead in the first place. I think White Vision is actually going to dig her up, but I do think that that'll be a little bit too simple. I still don't think she's going to stay as the good guy. She sacrificed herself at the end of this movie, but I don't think it's going to stay that way. I do think that she'll probably have some sort of vendetta against this Vision, this White Vision, kind of saying, okay, you're not my Vision. I don't believe in you, stuff like that, because we know that Vision and WandaVision transferred his memories over to this White Vision, and it's not just that same exact Vision, just has similar memories. So I do think it'll be interesting to see how they play that out, but that's basically it for Wanda's ending and her future in the MCU. Again, I think it's fairly simple. I don't think she's gone forever, and I don't think they just kill her off like that. On top of that, the Elizabeth Olsen contract thing kind of makes it known that she is coming back sometime in the future. But now to get to Doctor Strange's ending and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and this is the most interesting to me. I think Wanda's is definitely the most uncertain, but I definitely feel like Doctor Strange's is more certain and honestly allows for more theorizing. So there are two post-credit scenes for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I will be talking about the ending of the movie itself, but the second post-credit scene is the Bruce Campbell one. It's just a little joke that was in the movie. I thought it was a funny post-credit scene. A lot of people didn't seem to like it, but it was just a joke. So at the end of the movie, we do see Doctor Strange kind of enjoying his life and kind of coming to terms with himself. He fixes his watch. I think that really symbolizes I guess his broken heart after he kind of has this revelation with the Christine Palmer of a different multiverse. Them kind of understanding that obviously, they can't be together, but he still lives a happy life, especially after what Wong said. He said, I'm going to take at least what I have in this multiverse or this universe for granted and make the most of it. So I think Strange is really going through that. And it kind of gave me the vibes of evil Spider-Man, like in Spider-Man 3 when he gets the symbiote and he kind of gets that extra confidence, because obviously at the end of the movie, right before the credits roll, we do get to see him kind of get on the ground. He kind of has this kind of breakdown type of thing, and he kind of emerges and he has the third eye pop out of his forehead. Again, this is the same third eye that we saw earlier in the movie when we saw the alternate Strange. I think it's Supreme Strange. But the post-credit scene picks up right after where the story itself actually ended in the movie, and it basically answers the cliffhanger of the movie itself, what happened to Doctor Strange's third eye. And it seems like he has this dark magic situation thing that he had from using the Darkhold earlier in the movie under control. It seems like it's not something that's super prominent or bothering him every single day, because in the post-credit scene, we see him walking once again, but instead the third eye is actually still hidden within himself. And we see him walking down the street, and we see a new visitor, a woman like a purple type of suit, and it's named as Clea in the post-credit scene, and she's played by Charlize Theron. So if you guys didn't know, Clea is actually the niece of the tyrant Dormammu, who was a big part in the first Doctor Strange movie, which is really essential to this theory that I have, which I'll talk about in a few seconds. But just a general synopsis on Clea: she's basically like a sorcerer and the disciple lover, and eventually she becomes Doctor Strange's wife, and she's the ultimate successor to the Sorcerer Supreme. When Clea arrives, she tells Doctor Strange that he caused an insertion and they're gonna fix it, and then she basically tears a hole in this main reality, and it provides a window to her destination in space. Clea asks Doctor Strange, "Unless you're afraid," and Strange says, "Not in the least," and pops out his third eye. It does seem like this portal that Clea opened was to the dark dimension. As I mentioned before, she is the niece of Dormammu, and again, this comes into play in my theory. But back to this main post-credit scene. Remember, an incursion is whenever there's like an apocalyptic event that sees two different universes crashing into each other, and that's why the Doctor Strange in the Illuminati universe proves so dangerous. I do think he was looking for a universe where he and Christine could be together, and he ended up colliding two different universes together, wiping out a bunch of realities and killing like trillions of people. Now, before getting into the massive future of the MCU and the whole multiversal thing, I quickly want to talk about specifically Stephen Strange and what I think his future holds, at least for the third movie or whatever project is upcoming for him. I do think that since we got introduced to Clea and she's linked to Dormammu, there's this huge theory going around that Dormammu could actually be a corrupted variant of Strange himself. He could be the Strange that we have in the MCU that just went further down the line in terms of corruption with the Darkhold and eventually became that huge, massive, kind of looked upon being. And this would be an absolutely insane twist that I would love to see in Doctor Strange 3. But in terms of the main MCU and where this all leads, I do think that this is just the beginning of the multiversal side of the MCU. I know Loki, WandaVision, and Spider-Man No Way Home all built up to this movie, but I think this is just the beginning, and the pinnacle will be Doctor Strange 3 or even Secret Wars. In my opinion, this movie wasn't really deserving of the title Multiverse of Madness, and that's coming from someone who absolutely adored this movie, but I do think Multiverse of Madness is an overstatement in terms of a title, and that's because they just barely touched on the multiverse itself. I think the title of Madness in it makes sense because they realized what causes madnesses in the multiverse, which is incursions, as we learned throughout the movie. But I genuinely just think this is the beginning, and the pinnacle won't be for another 2 or 3 projects down the line. I do understand when people have this gripe of, oh, they built it up and they barely showed the multiverse being in madness, but I do think madness is the word for the incursions. It would just sound weird if it's like incursion of the multiverse. Like, that's kind of stupid. But yeah, back to the main theory. I do think that Doctor Strange 3 will be covering more of the multiverse, and we get that with Clea at the very end when she opens this rip in their reality to the dark dimension. But yeah, guys, that was the ending explained and post-credit scene for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness explained. Again, hit that subscribe button, notifications on so you don't miss any time I upload a video or I go live, as I will be uploading a lot more Multiverse of Madness content throughout the next week. Let me know what you guys thought of the post-credit scenes for Multiverse of Madness in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.